I was told to get up here and say something first.
Hold it up.
I said, well, I don't have nothing to say. She said, say something first, and then turn it over to me. So tonight I put my big boy britches on. I'm stepping up to the plate. I'm going to say something. I don't know what. I figured, I'm not like Brother Bill here that put words together in a way that keep your attention and all that. I can't do that. But I just want to give you a couple pointers about Honduras before she takes over. And this is something that a lady that lives there, a sweet lady, her name Gabby, she told me she's lived there all her life. It's a very small country. It only has like 10 million people, but it's in a very small area. She said crime is like murder, homicide, rape, domestic violence, human trafficking, all that is extremely, extremely high. She said the government's so corrupt over there. And you know, and I'm the world's worst. I'm always saying we're blessed people. But until your feet steps off of an airplane, firmly on the grounds of a third world country like that, see how they live. The expression we're blessed people don't take full effect till then. I mean, I realize now just how blessed we are. It's a very, very, very poor place. They have nothing. Education over there, Gabby told me, said education over there is less than 50% of the kids ever has any kind of education. And then by the time they get to high school, another 50% drops out. She said only 70% of the people in Honduras can even read. It's awful. We're just so blessed. I'm not telling you, we're so blessed. But I don't know what to say. Employment over there is less than 50%. She said the people over there live off of less than $2 a day. She said the ones that are working, they make an average of like $5 to $7 per day. Can you imagine that? I don't know. Until you've been there, you just don't understand the full effect. What else I want to say? Anything? I'll just turn it over to you.
No. Was you going to tell him about Renee? I don't know. I didn't hear his story. Renee.
Oh, well, yeah, Renee. That's one of the guys that I guess he works there. I guess at the mission. The mission itself. Y'all know Dan and Brenda Robinson, New Desire. She went over there for a friend of her invited her to go over there, and that's how the mission come about. She fell in love with the place. And then they ended up building a little small church there. And then they ended up buying property next to that church, and they built a bigger church. And then they built a home there for missionaries to come. And they even had missionaries come over and drill a well. And then they had missionaries come over and put a septic tank in for them. It's the only place in that village, only place that's got a septic tank with running water. I don't see how Said, think you can work over there. The land is so soggy. It rained every day we was over. It rained 3 or 4 times a day for 15 minutes at a time. But the Lord's been good to them. One thing that stands out in my mind is the love of the people in that village. Now, we did not feel threatened at all in that village, none. Everybody over there just loved us to death. The kids, oh my goodness. I got to turn it over to her. Now, I hadn't seen any of these pictures, so I'm seeing it for the first time along with y'all. So I hope y'all enjoy it.
Thank you. We were very blessed to be able to go, and Friendship to be part of that mission. Thank you, Joy, for the work that you've done and the shirts that were sold and raised money, and the extra shirts we had, we took those over there, and Gabby and Oscar are the overseers of the mission house and the church there and the girls' home. So she gave those out to the people that was working the medical mission. So they were so excited to get a
They all
T-shirt.
had the shirts on.
Now, they didn't know what it said, but it,
Yeah.
you know, it was in English, and, you know, they speak Spanish, and so this first picture we have here is the one, that was the only picture I got in the city, because we got there and we was detained at the airport for 4 hours after we got there. All the Tylenol and Advil and all that, the medical stuff. Gabby had to send that over a month ahead of time to be cleared through the government to come. Well, when we got to the airport, well, all that changed. So they had to write down every item that was sent and put a price on it. Well, they didn't do it right the first time, so they had to do it again.
Yeah, but the thing about it, they're the ones that put the price on there.
Yeah, I know. I know.
They wanted each item itemized, how many milligrams it was, what it was for, and the price.
Right.
Well, Gabby said, don't know the price. So they put their own price down there. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you.
it's okay. You saw it,
But,
too, no
but
matter.
after they put their own price on there, they reviewed it and turned it down. They did. They said too many of the items had the same price on it. So they changed it all again. All over $33.
Yeah, so that's how much it costs.
For us to
Take
sit there for
medicine.
4 hours.
So we was hungry. You know, we were hungry. We were hungry every time we got there. So that was the only picture that I made, because time we left the airport, it was already getting dark. So from the mission home, they had a 12-passenger van, and everybody gets in the 12-passenger van. Well, there's more than 12 of us. So they had another van, or truck. It was a little truck. You'll see a picture of it in a minute. And so there was us 4 left, Drew and Lena and David and me, and the driver. So, well, we got in there with him. His name was Ely. Ely spoke no English. And we spoke no Spanish. And we had a 2.5-hour ride from the airport to the mission home. So he turned his music up and he sang, and that was it. We made it there. We, like David said, we didn't feel, I never felt threatened. I got scared one time, and that was on the way to the mission home. Nobody told us that we would see, well, we thought people ride in the back of the trucks there, because not everybody has a car, and people just ride in the back of the truck like they used to do here. You know, years ago, everybody piled in the back of the truck. Well, we seen some people in the truck, but as we got closer, it was 2 men. And they were dressed, you couldn't see their face, and they had machine guns. And Ely, he backed off. So we found out later that that was actually police, but we didn't know that at the time. You know, that was scary. because we thought, oh, no, we done messed up here, you know, because we're talking among ourselves, you know, we're like,
Because he couldn't understand us, and we couldn't understand him.
he just smiled and played his music. He just smiled and played his music. But that was on Friday. We got there Friday night. They had supper for us, and then we had to separate all the medicines and put it in Ziploc bags, like for the families, like all the Tylenol and vitamins and stuff like that. So this picture here is on Saturday at the medical clinic. Drew and Lena was there, and that's Sierra. And then one of the little interpreters, she was there. She's in high school. I can't remember her name, but she spoke English and Spanish. And they'd just come in, and they would take their temperature, blood pressure and stuff. And we had several there that was real, their A1C, their level for diabetes was out of the roof, and their blood pressure. But these people don't go to the doctor. So they had to go get some medicine, you know, to give them just to have, so they'd have for their blood pressure and stuff. But a lot of them, their blood pressure was high. And I shared this with some people. Go to the next picture, Mr. George. Okay, that right there's the dentist in there. When Jennifer came here to our church, there were several people that came up to her and gave her a donation. We didn't take up an offering per se that night, but that total donation that was given here at Friendship
Listen to this.
was the exact amount that the dentist charged. The exact amount.
Right down to the penny.
So if that's not God, what is? You know, so these people, they don't go to the doctor, they don't go to the dentist, so they did a lot of tooth pulling that day. Older people and kids too. So that was just in their, what they call their Sunday school room now, which was their mission. That was their church to start with. Go ahead, Brother George. That's just the people sitting in there waiting. And this is the girls' home. That's the Pilar that Jennifer told us about. This is where they wash their clothes and they wash their dishes. Everything's right there.
Yeah, nobody has running water.
This was inside the girls' home. I didn't go in because my shoes were dirty, and you don't go in their house if your shoes are dirty. That's disrespectful because they have to sweep and mop every morning, the girls do, before they go to school. So you don't go in their house without taking your shoes off.
And this is the nicest village, the nicest building in the village.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Everything else is just huts.
Go ahead, Brother George, just keep going. There you go, that's the outside of it. You see some of their shoes sitting out there. And this right here is their patio at the girls' home, which it looks nice, it was nice, but they're getting 2 more girls after Christmas. So they're closing that in and making that into another bedroom.
Half of it.
Oh, half of it,
Closing
okay.
half of it.
Okay. They hang out their clothes, I mean, because they don't have washer and dryers, you know, they just hang them out. And look at there, who's that?
Whoever.
Yeah. You want to tell them what you were doing?
Well, all the houses or huts or whatever you want to call them, everything that they catch all the rainwater, and that's how they take their baths and wash dishes and all that kind of stuff. Most of them's got a little concrete thing out there to catch the water. But anyway, everything that comes out of the house drains down to this ditch beside this so-called road down through there. And that's where all their wastewater goes, down beside that road. And they're having a problem with it stopping up. Well, I went out there, it was full of trash. I don't know how many years the trash been in there. But I cleaned that ditch out for them, got the water flowing, so I was happy.
Yeah, that was a muddy job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was awful.
He was doing that. That right there is where they had the medical mission set up. I just took a picture from the outside, and you'll notice there's a big fence around it. There was fence around all of it where we stayed also. It's just another shot there. And that right there's their church. They use that for just about everything, but that's the inside of their church. They have the little plastic chairs. That's what they sit in.
Only building in the village that's got lights, electricity like that.
That's the line. They had a tent set up outside, you know, so people, they were sitting out there waiting. so they wouldn't pass out, because it was hot. Right there is Pastor Raul. He is the pastor of the church there in the village and on the mountain. And he was, they had it designed where they'd have to go to the medical part first. They'd just make a circle. Then they'd come over to the church. They would have to listen to evangelism before they got their medicine. And then we gave them whatever stuff we had to give them, the kids, clothes or toys or whatever. That's just pictures of the people listening to him teach. And there's one of the little boys that was there. I don't know if you can tell, the toys were just very small toys, just something simple, but they were so excited.
They're so excited.
You would have thought it would have cost a lot. That was in the kitchen. They made that the pharmacy, so they blocked the door off. That way they were giving the medicine from in there.
I don't know what we would eat every night, but man, it was good. I know. I was afraid to ask, but it was good, let me tell you.
That's just people waiting in the church, so they just had a big circle. They're waiting in line right there for their medicine. And, of course, the ladies came in with the babies, and that was Tanya. She's from Moody. We stayed in the church because we wasn't part of the medical team. We was over there. This, I want you to pay attention to this right here. I don't know what was said because they spoke Spanish, but there was something just very different right there. I looked at Tanya and she looked at me, and you could just feel the Spirit of the Lord, just like a mighty rushing wind, that Holy Spirit, the breath of the Holy Spirit. You knew something was going on in there. So I looked at her and I said, I don't know what just happened, but Jesus is in this house. He is in this house. So a total of 13 people was saved, 18 people was saved totally out of both trips, out of there in the village and on the mountain. 18 people accepted Christ and 3 rededications. So that was a lot. That was Katie. She was standing there with the little girls. Jennifer's church ladies made what they called them pillowcase dresses. Just a pillowcase, and they cut them and made dresses out of them. And I was doing something, I had the baby, and I told David he's got to hold the baby because I had to do something else. So he was taking care of her. She was about a month old. So pretty. I don't remember what her name was.
Hey, it's nothing over there to see 13, 14, 15-year-old girls expecting babies.
Yeah.
Very common.
And they had lots of kids. Yeah, right there, yeah.
Have you ever seen ox in motion? It's amazing. That man backed that trailer up in between the gate there, and ox backed that trailer right up in there. Perfect.
This was actually material for the girls' home. So they ordered it that morning, and about 2 hours later,
Here comes ox.
they came, delivered the stuff. That day, just a couple hours. Not like it is here, you gotta wait forever. But we just thought it was neat to see them, the oxen,
That's
bring
where
the
you back
stuff.
them up in the gate there. You just say something to them and they'd back up.
This was at the girls' home. This was the girl that's holding the bag. It was her birthday a couple days before, but she was embarrassed because we were all standing in there and we sung happy birthday to her, and she didn't want nobody to see her face, but there she is right there. So she was getting a birthday present. And then the one on the end, Abigail, it was her birthday coming up, so she got a present too, because there's 6 that live there in the girls' home. That's just them. They were always playing or singing or just all kinds of stuff. They were always doing stuff. That was just a picture of the sand that the oxen brought for them to do the work. And that was some rebar and some pipe, I think. There's the cement. They just mix everything by hand. I couldn't get any closer, but there's cows in that backyard. might have cows in their yard. They had a cow there at the mission. That was just, we were out walking in the village, and I just made some pictures of some of the homes. Everybody had their clothes out, hanging out. Of course, we walked. I mean, most people don't have any.
And that's what the average house looks like right there.
Yeah.
That's the average home right there.
And that was nice, really.
Yeah, that was a nice one there.
We're just walking down the road. We were going to see a lady at their church, so we all walked. And I thought that was neat because there's cows and there's a house, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that house is better than any barn I ever seen. But what it was, they were building a house, and the cows were in the pasture. So there was a Toyota pickup, I think, right there. Made a picture for Drew. You can see they either have a motorcycle or a bicycle. That's their means of
main transportation.
transportation. They
You'll
just have
see a
one.
whole family on a motorcycle.
They just have one. And that road right there, they all walked out that road, and
Yeah.
they were getting so deep in the mud and everything. I said,
Now, this is where that lady lives, that goes to their church. She's there every time the doors is open.
So you see what
She
has to
goes
walk
through all this
through.
stuff, walking to get to church, which is what, 3/4 of a mile from the
Yeah,
church, maybe?
Probably so.
And we was walking through there and we couldn't even see our shoes every step.
It was just a
Marring
picture of the
down the mud.
sunset. There's the little truck. Oscar came and got everybody, and everybody was getting out of the truck. Of course, they had to wash their shoes off because their shoes were muddy. That's their well there, because they got a grant to get the well, but the missionaries came over and did that for them a couple years ago. That's just a picture of the sunset. That's two of our interpreters, Carew, and do you remember her name? I think it was Ely. It's like, but she went by something else. But these were two, they were great. I mean, they were in their early 20s, full of life. That was on the church bus on Sunday morning, was going on the church bus to pick up people when the cows were in the road. It was nothing uncommon to see cows or horses in the road, even the main road. They'd be in the road. So that's for church. Had a pretty good crowd there. How many would you say?
I'd say there's at least 80 there with all of us.
So she's leading the worship, and they sing. They got their guitars and they sing. I think we did worship singing for an hour at least, and we stood up the whole time. And there's Andrea. She went with us. She was singing a song that she wrote, and then Gabby is standing over to the side. She was interpreting it in English, and then Oscar, her husband's back there playing on the keyboard. So they're just, oh yeah, and they done that. What was it? Glory to God. But it was in their language. They do it 3 times. And that was, everybody would say that. And there's the lady's house that we were going to. She has her grandson. He was crying when he got up there because I don't think he wanted to get up there, but he had swallowed a coin. And she was telling, and she was giving God the praise that she had prayed for him to be okay, and he was okay. He passed the coin. That's Sierra that was with us. She gave a devotion there that morning. And there's all the girls from the girls' home, and Tanya's in there with them. They were all dressed up. Just by looking at them right now, look how nice they're dressed.
Yeah, I don't understand how they stay that nice under
Just-
the conditions they live in. I mean, it's amazing.
There's Lena and Abigail. But it was like Deb and me were talking. Used to, people would get up and they'd wear their Sunday best to church, and that's what they do. That's Tanya and one of the girls. Now this is in the city there in Laramita. We were going up to the mountain Sunday afternoon to set up the stuff for Monday morning.
And let me say this, they have no sense of driving, none. You drive as fast as you want to go, you pass wherever you want to pass. It's crazy. It scared me. I mean, in the middle of town, they're passing each other.
You can see there's some more pictures of the houses. That's the roads that were there. Just little shacks.
See how they got them lined up all the way down through there?
They're just little shacks. That was the road we were supposed to go up in the truck. That was us, we just had to get out of the truck, because the truck couldn't make it up there with us in it.
No, our truck made it, the one we was in.
Yeah, well, we all had to get out and walk up the mountain, so that was the conditions of the mountain. The mountain had more poverty on it really than the village. But, it was just some pictures as was going up to the mountain. They've bought that place. New Desire has that spot right there. They're gonna build a
There's
church up
right there
there.
on that spot right there.
Because they have church on the mountain, Pastor Raoul does, but there's no, they don't have anywhere to have it. They just have it outside. And that's the little trucks they had to get around in. There's another motorcycle, because everybody had motorcycles. We had to get under the shed because the rain came, so. Yeah, Drew caught a chicken. He's always wanting to catch something, so. It was pouring down rain. They were in that building, and that's where they do the feeding kitchen from on the mountain also. They do it 3 days a week.
They feed like 1,100 people over a week's time. But you gotta hear the gospel first.
So that was on Monday. Oscar had called that same guy that brought the sand out. Now he brought some gravel out for the driveway there, because you can see the water standing. It was really muddy stuff. They were putting some gravel there at the driveway of the mission home and the church. That was the mission tent set up on top of the mountain. They just had to set them up wherever they could. We were at Pastor Raoul's and Miss Nancy's house is where this was. That right there was the church up there, because that's where he put it, right outside their house. And that was where the doctor and the nurses were, up there. And that man right there, he was in his late 70s. He accepted Christ that morning. And that's his daughter praying with him in his 70s. So that was a miracle. Amazing. All of them were. But you could just feel the Spirit, even though we didn't know what he was saying. No, he hasn't. No. We ate sandwiches up there. Like David said, they cooked for us every day. We had breakfast, lunch, and supper. When we was up there, we had a sandwich, which was fine.
I was up on the mountain looking down in the valley.
You can see how packed everything is. Now that was, what was her name? I can't remember. It's Sierra
I didn't know none of these
Henning's daughter. I can't remember. Vela. Her
Yeah,
name's Vela.
yeah.
So this was a little boy
Yeah.
from up on the mountain.
Yeah.
Well, he liked Vela. So he couldn't speak English and she couldn't speak Spanish, so she went and got somebody's phone that had Google Translate on it, and they were talking.
They were sitting there next to each other talking. She'd say something, hand it to him, and he'd say something, hand it back to her.
And he told her that she would always
Yeah,
be in his
said, "You'll
heart.
always be in my heart."
That was Pastor Raoul, which he just had some dental work done. He had a couple of teeth pulled, and his wife, Miss Nancy. And there is a little boy that they took in. The mother come to their house up there, and he's 18 months old, and she had 2 other children, and she told them if they didn't take him, the baby, that she was going to give him to somebody. She didn't care who she gave him to. She didn't want him. And she was taking the older 2 when they were going to Mexico. So they took him. The girls liked doing the ham clap stuff, you know, that we used to do, Miss Mary Mac, and all that kind of stuff. That's what they were doing. There's their Christmas tree. They've never had a Christmas tree. And they were making ornaments out of paper to put on it. And there's Leslie. Now, she's the one who did all of our cooking. And her little girl got sick while I was over there. So one day we cooked breakfast. I think it was Monday. David helped. We did eggs and bacon, just something simple. But she always did all of our cooking. She made everything from scratch, and she spoke no English. And there's Gabby with us when we was at the airport. There's Oscar and Gabby. Oscar speaks no English at all. And Gabby has tried to get a visa to come to the United States, and they will not grant her one. She graduated college over there, but they won't let her come out of the country. There's all the girls right there.
Can't come to the United States.
I mean,
She
yeah.
can go anywhere in the world she wants to
She can go
except
anywhere
the United
else.
States.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I had that one for Miss Robin, but that's for all of us.
Yeah, shoebox.
Shoe boxes. See them? And they didn't get their shoe boxes till March or April, but they got shoe boxes. And there's all of us that went plus the interpreters. So there was 14 of us that went plus the interpreters that were there. And there was us that helped in the kitchen on Monday night because we were up on the mountain till 5. When we got back home, we had to eat. But they do everything by hand. So, like we were having chicken, they wasn't tacos, like burritos or something. But everything was made from scratch. So she had cooked the chicken, but then she had to debone the chicken and do all this stuff. So we went in there to help. I don't know how much help we did, but we all ate it. And that's just that little baby. Yeah, that was another little girl that they were working on. But it was just a blessing. The trip was a blessing. It was the best birthday present I ever had. I just loved being there. Like David said, the people were so welcoming, so warm, so receptive. That wasn't hard to love, because they'd just come up to you and hug you. And on Sunday morning, across the aisle, there was a little boy. Gracie, how old are you? 7. He was probably about your age. I seen him. I just looked over there at him. My little great-nephew, he's 7. And he just reminded me of Titus. And he closed his eyes, and he was holding up his hands, singing. It was just so precious. So precious. And thank y'all for all your prayers, your support. And would I go again? Absolutely.
In a heartbeat.
Absolutely. Go again. But it was just a wonderful trip. Thank y'all, and thank y'all for your support.
Yeah.